Hey guys, welcome to Truth Market. Truth Market is the podcast that helps people understand the job market better. This is my friend Peter. He's a cost estimator. We're going to be interviewing him about his profession. He's going to give us a lot of really helpful advice to up-and-coming cost estimators and stuff like that. Peter, please introduce yourself.
All right, so my name is Peter Guerrero. I am a cost estimator slash electrical engineer. I work for Kiewit and Mass Electric Construction Company. I went to school at the College of Staten Island for 4.5 years, and I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering.
Okay. What's Kiewit? You said you work for Kiewit.
Kiewit. So,
Kiewit.
you said it right. Kiewit is pretty much one of the largest construction companies in the country. I guess you can call them a general contractor. So the way Kiewit is structured is you have the Peter Kiewit Company, and the Peter Kiewit Company has a bunch of subcontractors. A subcontractor is basically just a company that works for the larger company. So very business minded. Just these are terms used in construction. So what happens is that where I work in New York City and New Jersey, tri-state area, we have the Kiewit Infrastructure Group, which is our civil engineering firm. We have the Mass Electric Construction Company, and we have Jet Industries, which is our mechanical. So Mass Electric is obviously electric, Jet is our mechanical, Kiewit is our civil. And basically we bid work, and we win work, and then we build the work.
So you're a subcontractor for...
Mass Electric is probably Kiewit's largest electrical subcontractor, and
so do you work for Kiewit?
We work for Kiewit, yeah. So
okay.
it's a Kiewit owned company. We just
but you still bid.
Yeah, we bid as Mass Electric with Kiewit.
Wow, that's so interesting. So Kiewit owns these subcontractors, but you still have to bid.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's you're competing with other subcontractors owned by Kiewit.
Well, no. So what happens is Kiewit will bid as a general contractor. And what happens when they bid as a general contractor, Mass Electric automatically wins if Kiewit wins. But Mass Electric can still win if Kiewit loses. So if the new general contractor that does win doesn't have an electrical contractor, Mass Electric can still win. So if they have the lowest number, that will in turn receive the best profit for the GC, they will still be able to work. So say a company comes in and bids as a GC or general contractor basically for, let's say, the Galtos Bridge. So Kiewit also is bidding.
Well, let's just say Bridge, Galtos.
Well, Galtos Bridge is our biggest New York City job right now. So the Galtos Bridge is a bridge on Staten Island. So they come in and they bid for a bridge. Kiewit won the Galtos Bridge. They automatically have Mass Electric and Jet doing their mechanical work and their electrical work, while Kiewit does all the civil work. So the job in total is a $1.5 billion job, and Mass Electric owns $75 to $100 million of that work.
Wow. And
what we do as Mass Electric is we make sure Kiewit has the right electrical number in their total bid, and then say our estimate for the electrical was $100 million, right? And another company can get it done for 95. But Kiewit's overall number wins. We still win that $100 million number.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. So you said you're basically a cost estimator for a subcontractor owned by Kiewit, which is a huge multi-billion-dollar construction company. Yeah. Probably it's like a global.
It is. So our Kiewit company is Mexico, Canada, and America. So all of North America.
Awesome, yeah. Awesome. So great company. So you said you're a cost estimator there. Tell me about your journey to becoming a cost estimator at such a great company. So there's going to be a lot of people here who are up and coming cost estimators and entry level engineers. There's very little content out there to help people like you. You probably would know this as well.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So help people understand your journey so they can apply it to themselves.
Okay, so what I would say is that, if you're getting a degree in engineering, you pretty much will inherently have the skills that are needed to be a cost estimator, which is why we become engineers and then cost estimators.
So if you want to become a cost estimator, you highly recommend a degree in engineering?
Well, here's the thing. So we are cost estimators, but we have to do the engineering. So where we need to understand the engineering to estimate the cost. So we are engineers technically. We're reading blueprints on a daily basis, and we need to know how the work is built and how it is designed so we could properly price it out. So we are engineers. Our role in the office, though, is not to run the work as an engineer. It's to make sure it's priced out correctly. So it's more of the business aspect of the engineering.
Okay, so you highly recommend to get an engineering degree because it's going to teach you like
the fundamentals of,
okay.
of critical thinking and problem solving, which are highly necessary in the field.
But is it like physically applicable to being a cost estimator?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, all right. So a lot of the stuff you're gonna learn in, I would say, school is just understanding design elements. Period. So like you might learn, like what I did in college was electronics. You know, that's what the big electrical engineering degree was. But the way we learn it is, this needs to be done. How do I get it done? And because it has X, Y, and Z components, what does it do? And like those skills are just taken above and beyond in all aspects of engineering. So it's less about being very specific in undergraduate school, which I always thought you needed to be very specific in undergraduate school. But what an undergraduate engineering degree is basically going to teach you is the process of being an engineer, no matter what type of engineering you're really learning. And I mean, if you're doing civil versus electrical, you're going to obviously learn a lot better skills if you want to go into an electrical engineering firm with an electrical engineering degree. But the process of work is very similar for all aspects of engineering. But if you have more interest in electricity, go into electrical engineering, you know?
So if you work in a construction firm, you'd probably recommend civil. If you want to work in an electrical engineering firm, you probably...
Yes, obviously,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Because the way it works is there's going to be a lot of stuff thrown around, like say in electrical engineering, right? So I didn't learn about pipe and wire and running wire and building out these structures and these switch gears and all this high power type stuff in school. But all of the math behind the electricity, the voltage, the amperage, the power, you learn in electrical engineering. So it's just something that is one step ahead if you're going to go into electrical engineering. It just makes logical sense.
Interesting. Okay, great. So a good start would be a degree in engineering.
Yeah.
Is there any other degree relevant in this field?
There are definitely some people in the office who could get away with an accounting degree and learn the engineering while they're there. I don't know how well you might get hired at Kiewit because Kiewit is and this is not to boast, but it's a very hard place to...
So companies usually look for an engineering background.
Yeah, especially in construction.
Yeah.
Do engineering.
You could be I'm an accountant, and so like we do learn cost accounting.
Yes, yeah.
However, it'd be better if you have an engineering background. Right?
So I think the reason why they prefer engineers is because the way they do their work, right, is you need to do the problem solving, and then the secondary part is making sure the price is right. When you're doing cost accounting, right, your primary focus is the cost, and then you'd have to learn the engineering. And to me, as an engineer, it's going to be easier to associate the numbers with the engineering than having to learn how to problem solve in a slightly different way if you already know the numbers. You understand?
Does the value of the college, like, do you have to go to a great university? Does it really matter? Like, tell me about that. Let's say like the people who are watching this video aren't in an elite school. Like, is that going to be bad or good? Tell me like the variations of it.
Okay, so I would like to think that I lucked out getting a job with Kiewit. I know people who have worked there in the past. Not that they helped me because their position was not high enough to hire me, but if you know somebody at a company you want to work with, they maybe can just pass your resume along, you know, just to get you seen. Because at these big corporations, this company hires 100 new engineers a year, which means that they probably have 10,000 to 100,000
So you
applicants.
got this great job at this great company because you had connections.
Yeah.
Sure, but like let's talk about people who maybe aren't in an elite school who are concerned about getting a cost estimator position at a great company,
Yeah.
and they're not in an elite school. Like talk about that. Like, do you need to be in an elite school? How much will it help, or
So
does
if
it even matter?
a company like Kiewit, if you're coming from a background that has never worked in construction and you have no experience working in construction, probably the only way you're going to get in is if you know somebody. Because they're such a huge corporation that the HR department's probably going to have 1,000 resumes on their desk and they're going to interview 2 people. The thing is that, like me, I have construction experience, so I've worked in the same type of work 4 summers in a row.
Okay, so
Now, hold on. Let me answer your original question. I work with people who went to Penn State. I work with people who went to Northeastern. I work with people who went to U Buffalo. So if you don't know, Penn State is the State College of Pennsylvania. Still a very good school. Everyone knows it around the country. Northeastern, one of the top colleges in America. U Buffalo is just a state school in New York. So it really doesn't matter. Me,
good school, but not elite.
good school. Me, I went to College of Staten Island, a city university of New York. So New York has 2 campuses, a state campus and a city campus. And generally people don't believe the city campus is as good as the state campus. It's really depending on what you go to school for. So CSI specializes in things like nursing. So I didn't go to CSI thinking I was going to get this high-end engineering education. But out of 14,000 students each year, 65 people graduate with engineering degrees. So it's not an easy thing to accomplish no matter what school you go to. And I really think in engineering, the name of your school might help a little bit, maybe for the first job. But an engineering degree overall is equally as difficult no matter where you go to school. So employers know that. So if your resume is good and you can speak and you can kind of sell yourself a little bit on your experience, as long as you have a little bit of experience, doesn't matter where you went to school.
So he works in a great company, and he works with people who didn't go to elite school. So even if you're not,
And people who went to elite schools also.
But the variance is there. So just
yeah.
because you're not in elite school, you could get a great position at a great company in this field.
Of course.
You were talking about you had experience in construction. How important and how helpful is experience in cost estimation and in this respective field before getting a job, an entry-level job?
So, like I said, cost estimation is a portion of the entire system that Kiewit goes through, Mass Electric goes through. It is as integral of a part as the field work. Then, pretty much, it's literally equivalently important. So without the cost, you don't have a budget. Without a budget, you don't have any work. Without a cost, you don't have the work to begin with because you can't bid it. But field work, I would say experience, if you're looking to go into construction, whether it be on the estimating side or in the field to start. So basically the way my company works at least is you do estimating and then next year you do field work and then you go back to estimating and then you do field work. So you're moving up the ranks. So it's estimating, then you go to the lowest level in the field or vice versa. So if you start in the field, you're going to end up in estimating at some point just to go back and forth. And then when you go back into estimating, so I'll go from estimating to the field, then I go back into estimating and I'm assuming I'm going to be in a higher position. Then you go back into the field, you have a higher position. So after about 3 years, you're pretty much estimating to the field, back into a higher position, estimating into a higher position in the field, and then you can go into management after that first 3 or 4 years. Experience matters. So a construction experience, seeing how the job is laid out, seeing how the job works.
Just to make it simple, so you think that what you're saying is great, but this is really for
experience matters,
right? Experience matters a lot.
100%.
So would you say that in order to be competitive for a position as a cost estimator in a great company, having experience in construction or this field in general gives you a complete leg up?
100%. Because
so while you're in college, you should be very active about finding experience in this field.
When you're doing the engineering portion of the estimating, you have to know how the wire needs to be run and how the pipe needs to be laid out, and then what wire connects to what panel, X, Y, and Z. So you have your black, your red, your blue, your ground. You need to know that there's this type of gauge, this much current can go through it, and if you don't know those things, it's harder to cost and estimate the right way. So going into the field, right, whether you're doing engineering or you're actually doing field work as an electrician, you learn the actual material and you learn hands-on how things are done. So when you estimate it, it's less like, how do I explain it? Less foreign to you. So I know what the wire is. I know what the pipe is.
So recruiters are very conscious of people who have previous experience.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so that's highly recommended. Is there anything else you want to tell people who are going into college, who are like a senior in high school, who are thinking about majoring in cost estimating or engineering to become a cost estimator? Is there any other practical value you can provide so they know that will really help them enter this field efficiently?
Be ready to work. And like that, and that's a funny cliche that goes with any job, you know. But
if you don't have a strong work ethic,
yeah,
this isn't for you.
It's one of those things. Whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, you need that mindset. I will do as much work as I can to get to where I want to be.
So if you're like somebody who's looking to like have more fun than work in college, maybe this isn't for you.
Engineering is definitely not a major you want to do to have any type of fun.
Yeah.
It was the least fun thing I've ever done in my entire life, but probably the best return on any investment I've ever made.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cost estimating is a profession ideal for what type of person?
You could be either. The way I see it right now is it's a lot of office work. So if you don't mind sitting at a desk and interacting with people once or twice a week, and you can focus and put your head down and just bang out work, it's usually a good place to be. You are going to work with people, so if you can't speak to people, you can't be an engineer, honestly. And I went to school with so many kids who raw talent in academics, bar none, like beat me out. But there's very few people that I know, and I'm not trying to be arrogant. It's very few people I know that have an engineer's mindset, like intelligently, mathematically, scientifically, and can also hold an amazing conversation. And the better you are as a conversationist, the better you are working with teams of people, the better engineer you're going to be.
So this profession is ideal for people who enjoy white-collar work.
Of course, yeah.
This for people who don't mind the 9-to-5 office life. For people who
want to make money.
For people who like, if you're introverted and you avoid
people at all costs,
good luck.
You can't work. Yeah, you can't work really in any office, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. No, that's really great insight.
If you're going to avoid people at all costs, there's other types of engineering that are just as lucrative.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that real quick?
So if you'd rather put your head down all day, every day, but you still enjoy the problem solving and the math and the science and building and designing like any engineer would, software engineering is the way to go. You know? Software engineering, computer science.
Do you have experience in software engineering?
Well, what we do in electrical engineering is we make sure we have a foundation of C or C++ or Java.
Let's not... it may be slightly irresponsible to give people insight about something like that when you're not a software engineer. So let's bypass that.
No,
but the insight is appreciated.
What do you mean? Well, being a software engineer, you need to be engineer-minded.
Sure. No, I'm saying you're saying if you're introverted, go into software engineering, but we don't know that for sure. Neither of us are software engineers. I have software engineers that work for me, but I can't really speak on them on their behalf like that. So let's just bypass that. I don't mean to be rude because I don't want to because we're not.
Well, I'm not trying to be negative about it.
No, of course you're not being negative.
But it's easier. It's easier to not deal with people when you're doing software engineering.
Sure.
So I'm saying at all costs, if you'd rather not see people, you shouldn't be a field engineer.
Right. Yeah, okay. I got that. Cool.
You could be another type of engineer.
Great.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about software engineering.
I appreciate that. For the record, me and Peter are really good friends. So, okay. So Um, okay, so tell me about what you expected and how like the differences between what you expected and how it really was. So that's a huge thing when people are going into their first career, or a lot of people expect X but Y comes out. Like, tell me about things you did not expect or things that were completely different than what you expected.
I thought it was going to be more of a dictatorship at work.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life I've always been very against the wake up at 5 a.m., go to work at 9 a.m., come home at 6 and repeat. So I was never excited about doing something like this, and I thought, oh, my boss is going to tell me what to do all day, every day, demand me. And most people do think that. And some companies are like that. But this company was definitely not like that.
So this is a multi-billion-dollar international firm, and you get a lot of autonomy. You're treated with a lot of respect.
100%, yeah.
You're valued highly.
Yes.
They're very transparent about how.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the bosses are very straight up, very to the point,
honest, kind.
But as long as you do what you're supposed to do, they're the nicest people ever.
Really?
Yeah. Literally,
Awesome.
some of the nicest people ever. Conversation's very good. Like
Cutthroat?
no.
No.
So the reason why it's not cutthroat is that there's so much work to do. At least in the scenario that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
But
so basically, resources are plentiful.
Yeah.
Everybody has something to do. There's there's plenty of room to shine.
Yeah. So like, if somebody else is shining as brightly as I'm shining, right? But maybe a little bit more.
That's all them.
Yeah.
You have that opportunity.
Yeah. It's not like we're beating the crap out of each other for more work. You know?
Yeah. Cool.
So like.
Cool. And management is very.
There's so much to do that if you're not good at one thing, you're going to be really good at something else.
Right. So there's plenty of opportunity to shine.
Yeah.
And the management there like makes you feel valued.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, as an engineer and
Cost
as just a
estimator.
human,
Right.
I like to call myself an engineer.
Sure.
Because we are.
You are.
They call us engineers in the office.
Right.
I just naturally want to be the best at what I do.
Right.
So the problem is I can't figure out how in this place because no one's really like trying. No one's outwardly trying to be the best. So it's not like a fight. It's not like a struggle, you know?
But I'm
so
sure
like,
you're around hardworking people.
Oh yeah, of course. Everyone's very hardworking. Yeah.
So let's talk about what about like licenses? Like people who major in engineering, they're always all the professors constantly bring up the FE, the PE licensing certifications. Talk about that. Like, what do you recommend?
Okay, so if you plan on ever getting a PE, you have to take the FE. You don't have a choice. That's just plain and simple. You cannot take the PE without the FE, and you cannot get the FE without an accredited engineering degree.
Wait, talk about what the FE is.
So I'll explain,
Right.
So the FE is your Fundamentals of Engineering exam.
Yeah.
It's literally just the stepping stone to get to the PE. For the work I'm doing, you don't need an FE and you don't need a PE. So there are scenarios where you are an engineer and you do not need the FE or the PE. Now in construction, I think the camera might be dying.
That's fine.
In construction, you can get a PE and you could sign off on things, but at a company like Kiewit, we don't do design work. So if you're going to work for a company that does cost estimating, you're not going to get a PE because you need that design experience, or else you're not allowed to even take the PE. So if you want a PE, you do have the choice of getting a master's, and then you're fast tracked into getting a PE by like 2 years, and it's a very good scenario. But if you're going to do cost estimating and field work, the only way you need a PE is if you're basically going to be like a separate contractor yourself and sign off on drawings yourself and do design work for people.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So if you want to be in cost estimation, you don't necessarily need the conventional engineering licenses.
No. Very few people need the conventional engineering licenses. I thought otherwise when I was in school.
So, okay, great. Is there any other things that you didn't expect? The reality was different than what you expected?
Yeah, so...
Give one more. Because this is very, very eye-opening inside.
When you go into cost estimating, I expected I would just be crunching numbers all day.
Sure.
I've been at this company for a nice amount of time now.
Sure.
And as of right now, I've done more talking to vendors and more talking
Very
to
social job.
other subcontractors to convince them and to just receive their quotes on the job, their pricing on materials, their pricing on what they would do in the situation.
So communication and sales,
Yeah.
skills are way more vital than you thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And it's good because it keeps you well rounded. Because if you're in the books all day and you're crunching numbers all day, you might forget how to talk to a couple people once in a while, you know. So it keeps that muscle strengthened.
Let's talk money. Everyone wants to know about money. Don't talk about your compensation, but what's the starting salary like? Tell me about the compensation structure. Go ahead.
When I went into my interview,
Mm-hmm.
there was not 1 second spoken of salary whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to have to negotiate right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I was given a nice enough package that I didn't have to negotiate at all.
Mm-hmm.
But if I needed to, I would have.
Mm-hmm.
So the way Kiewit works, at least, is they give you a base salary.
Mm-hmm.
So my base salary was $62,500, right? So I was expecting about 50, 55.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasantly surprised, you know. But it's something you can expect from a company that big.
Mm-hmm.
About $60,000 base salary.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we work in the tri-state area, though, and they are a multi-country, multi-state company, their base salary is pretty even between 50 and 65.
Mm-hmm.
But the tri-state area in LA and Texas,
Mm-hmm.
they have a thing called COLA.
Mm-hmm.
And what a COLA is a cost of living adjustment.
Interesting.
And based on where you live, the cost of living is higher.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically get 15% on top of my base salary.
Mm-hmm.
So my actual base salary comes out to about $72,000.
Wow. No, that's excellent.
Just to start. Yeah.
Wow, much appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Benefits?
Full benefits.
Wow.
So they have a health savings plan where you could save X amount of money each week at your discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Once you go over $5,000, it goes right into your 401k.
Mm-hmm.
Kiewit matches 6% 401k. Mass Electric gives you 50 cents an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So you get about an average of $25 to $50 a week, depending on how much money you put in.
Mm-hmm.
You can put in $150 up to $1,000 a week. 401k is maxed out at 18.5. If you're working in the union, Mass Electric, you get a pension. Kiwi, you don't get a pension, but they give you a little bit better on the benefits. Full health coverage with like a $4,000 deductible. So it's good. It's very good.
Oh, excellent. Does your GPA matter? And does the GPA impact salary?
I didn't put my GPA on my resume, so I guess that's as best explanation as you can get.
Okay.
No one cared because of my experience.
Because he had previous experience in construction, and probably because of your connections, they didn't even mind your GPA.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
generally speaking,
my connections, all they basically did was hand the resume over to the hiring managers, and they said, you know what, he has a lot of experience, so I kind of only bypassed one step, that stack of resume step, which is a hard step to get past for anybody. But once I got past that step, I feel like my resume was impressive. More impressive than I expected it to be. I thought it was just a normal thing, but I guess I was mistaken. So if you have experience, you're going to get past that first resume piece, regardless of connections. If you have 4 or 5 internships and relevant... So the camera died, and I'm just going to finish my thought because we're going to wrap up this podcast because the camera died. The point I'm making here is that if you can get your interviewer to explain the job and talk more than you're talking, you're going to get the job. 100%.
Okay. Cool.
Make sure he knows you're interested by allowing him to speak about the job.
Excellent.
And ask good questions. I'm a good question asker, so...
Right. So, my apologies. Let's wrap this up because there's 4 minutes of battery left. Guys, thank you for watching the video. I really hope this helps you. He gave us some excellent insight. Feel free to share in the comments if you'd like a part 2. below in the description below, I'm gonna give you guys Peter's information. So if you'd like to connect with him on his social media, you can. He's a blogger on Quora. He hangs out a lot on Quora, answers a lot of questions on Quora. So feel free to go on Quora and ask him questions directly. I will give you his LinkedIn and social media too. Join the Truth Market Facebook group if you'd like to ask me questions, give me recommendations for the podcast, or speak to him. He's in the Facebook group as well. I also have my social media information if you'd like to connect with me directly. And that's all. Anything else you want to say?
Don't forget to like the video. Make sure you comment anything down below that you think is interesting.
Yeah.
Let us know. All right.
Bang.